Welcome everyone to Yoga Basics. Today, the props that you will need, if you do have two blocks, then grab both blocks. I'm going to show you a little way to align yourself in mountain pose. So we will use those blocks. You will need your strap. And then have your chair nearby because we always use that to help with balance. So just have that chair nearby. And then we'll go ahead and get started by bringing ourselves down on the mat, sitting up either on some folded blankets or on your block. The option to cross the legs or just keep them extended, whatever is most comfortable for you. And then we'll just take a few moments to prepare the body by closing the eyes and turning the attention inward and just checking in with how your body feels. Noting any areas of tension or tightness. And then we'll take 2 deep cleansing breaths. So take a nice big inhale through the nose and exhale it all out by blowing or sighing it out. And one more nice big inhale and exhale it all out. And then soften the muscles of the face. Relax the muscles of the neck and the shoulders. And then turn the attention to the breath. Notice the inhale. And notice the exhale. And then we'll begin a nice even breathing. Inhaling and exhaling to a count of 4. So inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4. And just continue with this nice, even breathing. If at any time it makes you lightheaded or dizzy, just go back to your own normal breathing pattern. And then we also set an intention for each practice to help remind us why we are here. So that may be a benefit you would like to receive, or just an uplifting or a positive thought or a phrase. So think of an intention that you'd like to have for your practice today. And then with your next inhale, go ahead and lift your head and open your eyes. If you do have the legs folded and you would like to switch the top leg, go ahead and do that. And then we'll begin the warm-up by turning our heads to look out over that right shoulder. And coming back to center and turning to look out over the left. And back to center, dropping the chin to the chest. And then picking the chin up towards the ceiling and jutting that lower jaw out. And back to center. And dropping the right ear to the right shoulder. And back to center. And left ear to left shoulder. And back to center. Extending the hands out in front. Open and close the fingers. And then some wrist circles. And reverse. Good. And then bringing the hands back to the lap and doing some shrugs. And then the next time you pick those shoulders up, roll them to the back. And bringing the shoulders back to neutral, extending the arms out in front with the elbows and palms together, and then clasping your hands. And with an inhale, extend those elbows out to the side, lift the chest and chin. And then with your exhale, folding into center, dropping the chin to the chest. And then inhale, expanding out, nice big inhale. And exhale, folding into center. And again, inhale. And exhale. Good, and then coming back to center, releasing the hands down. Take the right hand, place it to the outside of the right hip. Inhale, sweep the left arm up, and exhale, bend to the right. And coming back to center, switch arms, right arm up, and exhale to the left. Good, and coming back to center, and coming into a twist, placing the left hand on the right knee. Then inhale to lengthen the spine. Exhale, bring the right arm around behind you as you turn and look to the right. Good, and then exhale back to center, switch hands. Inhale to extend the spine, and exhale, turning and looking left. Good, and then release the twist back to center. If you did have your legs folded, just extend them out in front of you and shake them out a little bit. You can even massage around your knee if you'd like. And then taking your hands, placing them behind the right thigh, we'll pull that knee in towards you and then extend the leg. Get that blood flowing again to the lower extremities. Then hold the knee in towards you, point and flex the foot. And then some ankle circles. And reverse. Good. Placing that right leg down and then the left. So the same thing, just warming up the knee and the thigh a little bit. And then the next time you pull that knee in, hold it there, point and flex the foot. And ankle circles. And reverse. Good. And then coming on to hands and knees, feel free to open up your blanket to pad your knees and shins. And then as you come into hands and knees, have the wrists under the shoulders and knees right under the hips. As we come into a spinal warm-up of cat-cow. So with your inhale, lift the chest and the sits bones, arching the spine for cow. And then exhale, press into your hands, rounding that back, dropping the chin and tailbone down for cat. And then inhale, back to cow. Exhale into cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. And once more, inhale and exhale. Good. And then coming back to neutral, we'll come into child's pose. So sending those hips back, supporting the head by stacking the fists, or a block is nearby, placing the forehead on the block. And just take a couple of breaths. And then extending the arms out in front of you, come back to hands and knees. And we'll either come into downward facing dog, which you will press your hands into the mat, curl your toes, lift the hips, press into the hands, extend through the back. Keep a bend in the knees. So either holding here or what we call puppy pose. So keeping the knees on the mat, walk the hands forward a little bit more, and then drop the chest and the head down towards the floor. You want to just keep your head between your arms. And again, the main focus is reaching out through the arms, the shoulders, keeping the back straight. So whichever one you want to try, puppy or downward facing dog. Again, you can straighten one knee and then the other, or just keep that bend in the knee. Good. And then bringing the knees back down to the mat if you were in downward facing dog, lifting the torso if you were in puppy. We're now going to come down on our back. So take those lower legs, sweep them to the side, lower your hips down, sweep the legs in front. And you want to make sure you have your strap. My blanket's out of the way there. All right. So rolling onto your side to lower yourself down, and then rolling onto your back. So we're going to do some hip openers here, just kind of warming up the hip joint. So we'll start by walking our feet. Our knees are bent, feet are on the mat, and you're just going to walk your feet to the edges of the mat. So you've got this wide knees here. Now, you can either just bring the arms out to shoulder height, like this. If you're okay extending the arms overhead, then take your left thumb and index finger and grab the back of your right wrist. And then you're going to drop the right knee down towards the left knee. My left knee stays up. And then gently pull that right arm over to the left. So you're just deepening that stretch a little bit on the right side. Again, you don't have to do this. You can just leave the arms at shoulder height. Good. Come back to center. Switch hands if you do have your arms here. Drop the left knee down. Again, arms can stay here. You mainly are stretching here through the hip, through the psoas. Good. Back to center. Try it again on the right. Good. And center and left. Good. And then come back to center. Go ahead and walk your feet back in towards the center. Grab your strap. So we're going to come into a hamstring stretch called Supta Pandangusthasana. So we're going to do it with the leg straight up or extended forward. Then we're going to come into Supta P, is the shortened version of it, too. So then we're going to be taking that leg out to the side. So start with finding the midpoint of your strap, bend your right knee, place the strap across the wall of the right foot. Then just let the strap extend with your leg as you straighten that leg. Now you want to focus on the back of the knee. That's what you want to have perfectly straight. So maybe your leg will be here. That's fine. It doesn't have to be exactly at 90 degrees or anything like that. Then you're going to walk your hands up the strap, and you can see how then that lifts my shoulders up off the ground. So then I'm going to pull my shoulder blades back to the mat, and I can feel how that extends that leg a little bit. Then I'm going to press my right thigh away from me. So I'm really getting a nice deep stretch. Make sure there isn't any discomfort or pain. Now, if you do tend to have low back issues, keep that left knee bent. Otherwise, extend the left leg down the mat, press through your heel. That will help stabilize the pelvis. Good, and then breathe. We'll take a couple of breaths here. Again, I'm pressing my right thigh away from me to extend through the back of that knee. Good. Now, put both ends of the strap in the right hand. You want to focus on that left hip. So you can just put your hand on that hip bone at the top of the pelvis there to remind you, you want to keep that hip, that left hip, on the mat. So you'll probably have to lengthen the strap on the right as you drop that leg out to the side, and then bring your right elbow down on the mat. That'll give you a lot of support for that leg. But if you feel yourself rolling over to the right, then bring that leg back up. All right. The other thing is you want to externally rotate that right leg. So see if you can bring your heel in line with your toes. So a lot to think about here, obviously. And breathe. Always breathe. Continue to breathe. Good. More seconds here. Good. And then just go ahead and bend that right knee as you bring it back to center. Remove your strap, and we'll try it on the left. So, bending that left knee. Same setup here. Strap on the ball of the foot. Just let the strap extend as you lengthen that leg. Walk your hands up when your leg is straight, and then pull those shoulders down. Keep that right knee bent if you need to support the low back. Good. Press that left thigh away from you. Good. And then continue to breathe. All right, let's go ahead and take that leg out to the side. So both ends of the strap in the left hand. As you begin to drop the leg, just lengthen the strap so you can put your left elbow, don't go too far, on the mat. Focus on that right hip. Just put your hand right there on the top of the pelvis there, the crest. Make sure that the hip is staying on the mat. And then rotate that left leg, so you're externally rotating it. Think of bringing the heel up in line with the toes. And take a few breaths. Good, and then coming back to center, bend that left knee, remove your strap, and go ahead and just put that to the side. And then slide that right foot back in if you had it extended. So now you're laying here with your feet on the mat. We'll come into our twist. So extending the arms out to the side, palms facing up. And then pressing into the heels, lift the hips up just a little bit and shift them over to the right, about 2 inches or so. Then pick your feet up, stack your knees over the hips, and drop the knees to the left. Now, you can turn to look out over that right shoulder. If you feel that right shoulder lifting up off the mat, press into the back of the left hand. And then turning to look right. Continue to breathe. Good. And then bringing legs back to center, feet to the mat. Lift up the hips, bring them to center, and then shift them over to the left. Pick your feet up, and then drop the knees to the right as you turn and look left. Good, and then return the head to center, pick those knees up, come back to center, adjust your hips, and then we're going to come up to standing. So roll on over to your side, using your upper arm to support you, come up to a seated position, and then however you normally would come up to standing. Grab your 2 blocks, if you have your 2 blocks, and find a little portion of wall. You don't need a whole lot, just enough to stand up next to it. All right. So we're going to just take a few moments to work on alignment in Tadasana, or mountain pose. Because I always, every class, give lots of cues, line up this, line up that kind of thing. The wall is really good to help put that in perspective. So make your way over to the wall. We're going to try it 2 ways, and then you can see which one works best for you. So having your back to the wall, you want to have your feet just about an inch or so away from it. So you don't have to slide your heels right up next to the wall, but not too far away either. So I think right now I'd say I'm probably about 1.5 inches. All right, now you want to press your hips against the wall. You want to tighten those abdominals, and I'll show you why in a minute. Keep the ribs knitted towards your torso. Now, upper back, and here's the hard part. Pull the head back, but don't lift your chin. So the chin stays parallel to the floor. So you're going to pull the head back, if you can, against the wall. Arms alongside the body, just how we stand. Now, what you're probably noticing is that you're kind of doing this. So these abdominals, the chest want to come forward, and you're overarching this low back. So do a little pelvic tilt to pull that all back in. I can still slide my hand behind my back. I have lots of room. But the problem is, as we get older, that upper back starts to round, and we get what's called kyphosis. And we're sitting slumped, all day, reading the computer on our phone, and so this is what happens. So this is a great way to practice working these muscles. Now, it may be that the upper back, if those muscles are weak and stretched, so it might be really hard for you to get your neck, the back of the neck towards the wall without lifting your head. So here's what you're going to do. Now we're going to use the blocks. So you're going to put one block at the bottom here up against the wall, and it's the short end of the block against the wall. And then you're going to bring your heels to the block. And then I'm going to take the other block. Again, the short end of the block is going to go against the wall. And the other end is at my sacrum. So the blocks are kind of serving as the wall. And then I want you to try to align yourself again, just like we've done in Tadasana. Remember how we pick our shoulders up, pulling down the back, to keep those abs tight. And now you know to pull the neck back. So when I say line your ears over your shoulders, they're not out here. Good. So let's just take a breath or two here. If you want to use the blocks, you can. If you want to practice on the wall, then go ahead and just do it up against the wall. Good. Take another breath. And then go ahead and release. So that's something you can practice on your own. I'm going to put that over here. So returning to your mat, we're going to come into Stork pose. And I'm actually going to remove this mat just because I've got two here and it gets to be a little too much for right now. So I'm just going to put that to the side. All right, so we're going to start in Stork, and then we're going to go into a lunge. So we have a little balance challenge. If you would like to grab your chair and bring that over, feel free to do that. So we're going to start by shifting the weight to the left leg and bending the right knee. Now your knee should be in line with your hip. Keep a hand on the chair as you find your gazing point out in front of you. And then see if you can bring your hands to your hip. Good. And just hold here for a second. And then we're going to put a little movement into it. So I'm going to go sideways so you can see me here. All right, so let's see, I have my right leg bent. Good. Now I'm going to go right into a lunge. And then I'm going to come back up to Stork, back into my lunge, back into Stork. So let's try that a couple more times. And again, if you want to keep the chair in front and just keep a hand on the chair, the most important thing is that you're safe. And then you challenge yourself. Like that was just a challenge for me. It's like step back too far. Good. And back up. All right, let's try it on the other side. So we'll start with just holding the pose, shifting the weight to the right leg, bending the left knee, find your gazing point. So as we stand here, it's the same alignment in Tadasana. Focusing on those ears over the shoulders, shoulders over the hips, that kind of thing. Good, continue to breathe. Good, and then we'll put that movement into it. So bending the knee and then stepping back into your lunge and back up into Stork, back into your lunge Press off from that back foot. Takes a lot of control. Keep those abs tight. Again, keep a hand on the chair if you need to. Good. Let's try it once more. Good. And then release that left leg. Walk it out. Good. Then from here, we're going to come into Warrior Two. I'm just going to put that to the side for a second. So coming into that wide stance, as wide as you safely can. Take that right foot, turning it out at 90 degrees, lining up the heel with the instep of the left foot. Bending the right knee, stack it right over the ankle. Good. Now, the important thing here in your alignment is keeping that knee in line with your toes. And as you do that, you can probably feel that left hip is angling to the right, and that's fine. So keep those legs like they are, and then you're going to turn from the waist up, face the front, bring the arms up to shoulder height, and then turn to look out over that middle right finger. Good. Continue to breathe. Keep those abs tight. Good. And then with the inhale, go ahead and straighten that right leg. Turn that right foot in, and then we'll try it on the other side. So turning that left foot out. Again, just glancing down, lining up the heel with the instep of that right foot. Then bending the left knee, stacking it right over the ankle, and lining it up with your toes. And then feeling that right hip kind of angle to the left. So keeping the legs here, because what your knee wants to do is kind of come in a little bit. So keeping it in line with the toes, then from the waist up, facing forward. Arms come up to shoulder height, and turn to look out over that middle left finger. Now remember, if you have shoulder issues, you're always welcome to keep a hand on the hip instead. Good. Lift up through the torso, reach through those fingertips. Good. And then with the inhale, go ahead and straighten the left leg. Turn that left foot in. Do a little heel toe till you can step the feet together. Then if you want to bring your chair back in, we're going to come into tree pose. So we'll start by standing behind the chair. We'll shift the weight into the left leg, bending the right knee, and then turning that knee so it's on the diagonal. Good. So again, doing a little external rotation there. You can bring your right foot over, rest it against the left ankle. You can bring the right foot to the outside of the calf, or you can reach down and bring that foot to the inside of the left inner thigh. Keeping a hand on the chair, bring the right hand to the chest. Get your stability here, finding your gazing point. Start with the hands in prayer. You're welcome to stay here. Or I don't know if I can do this, extending the arms up. As your branches, tighten those abdominals. Keep a hand there. And then as you exhale, bring that arm down. Release that right leg and walk it out. And then we'll try it on the other side. All right, so finding those four corners of the right foot, spread those toes. All that will help with your balance. Tighten up the right thigh. Bend the left knee. Again, taking it out. Just on that diagonal, you're welcome to stay here. Bring the hands to prayer. Or bringing that foot to the outside of the calf. Or if you want to, bring it up. Personally, I think it depends on what you're wearing. Sometimes, like I can feel my foot slipping here. So it depends on what you have on if you want to come up here. Bring the hands to prayer. Find your gazing point. Again, you're welcome to have a hand on the chair. Extending those arms up. So as you're here, it's just like, I'm going to have to keep my hand on the chair. I can't do that and talk at the same time. But it's just like being in Tadasana, only now your arms are raised. You've got that leg out to the side. But same properties here as far as alignment. Good. Keep breathing. And then with your exhale, go ahead and bring that left hand down. Release your left leg. Walk it out. Good. And then go ahead and put your chair to the side. And we're going to come back down on the mat. I'm going to open up my mat again here. All right, so coming back on the mat, we are going to come down on our chest and belly. So start in hands and knees. Walk those knees back behind you so you can lower yourself down. So we're going to come into locust pose, and then we're going to do a little variation. We're going to extend the arms out to the side. So just shoulder height. So you're in this T position. And then we're going to align the legs. So we'll pick the right leg up just a little bit off the mat. Turn the leg so the thigh turns towards the middle of the body. And then lay that leg back down. Try it on the other side. Think of rotating that thigh inward. So as you lay the feet back down, you'll feel your heels will fall out to the side. You should feel a widening up here at the base of the pelvis. Good. Now, you're going to tighten the abdominals. Take the tailbone, press it towards your heels. Press the pubic bone into the mat. And then with your next inhale, begin to lift the back of the neck, then the shoulders, the chest, and the arms, and then the legs. Just keeping the neck in line with the spine. So you're just looking down at the mat. Good. Continue to breathe. Good. And then with the exhale, bring everything back down to the mat. Bring your arms alongside the body. Turn the palms up. And then turn your head either side so the cheek rests on the mat. And just completely let go. Good, and then take those hands, slide them underneath the shoulders, curl your toes. As you press into the mat, come up to hands and knees, and then coming back to child's pose. This time, widen your knees so they're the width of the mat. The big toes are touching. And then just take a few breaths here. Good, and then extend the arms. As you come back up, bring those knees back to hip width, and then we'll come back to a seated position. So sweeping the legs to the side, lowering yourself down, extending the legs out in front of you. And you will want to grab your strap. Also, options are to grab a block or a blanket. All right, so extending the legs out in front of you, we're going to start with a twist. Just have your strap next to you. We'll get to that in a second. So we'll start by turning to the right. So the left leg is going to stay extended. We're just going to bend the right knee, pick up that right foot, and step it to the outside of the left knee. Now you want to inhale, lengthen the spine, and then as you exhale, think of those lower left ribs turning first. As you turn to the right, you're going to wrap that left arm around that right knee and hug it in towards you. Bring your right hand around behind you. Use that as a little kickstand to help lengthen through the spine as you turn and look to the right. Good, and then releasing the twist, and we'll try that on the other side. And again, sitting up on a folded blanket or even your block will help a lot with the alignment in the twist. All right, bend that left knee, pick up your left foot, take it to the outside of the right knee. Good. Inhale to lengthen the spine. Exhale, again, the lower ribs begin to turn first. Wrap your right arm around that left knee, hug it in towards you. Bring that left hand around behind you as you turn and look to the left. Good, and then go ahead and release and uncross that left foot. And then grab your strap. So we're going to come back to having the left leg extended. This time we're going to bend the right knee, but we're just going to slide it in towards us. And then you're going to find that midpoint in your strap and put it around the ball of the left foot. You will hold both ends of the strap in that left hand. Then you're going to inhale, keep the spine nice and straight. And then as you exhale, wrap your right arm around that right thigh. And then the key here is to feel that stretch in the back of the left thigh. So tighten the top of the thigh. If you are a little more flexible, maybe walking that left hand down the strap a little bit, but focusing on that low back. Make sure and the mid spine that you're not rounding. So just staying here, resting that thigh, back the thigh into the mat. Good. Continue to breathe. Good. And then go ahead and release. We'll try it on the other side. sliding the left foot in towards you, putting the strap across the ball of the right foot. Then inhale to lengthen the spine, and then exhale, wrap that left arm around the left knee. As you hug it in, you'll see how you'll automatically come forward a little bit, but really watch that rounding. Keep the back straight. Press the back of the right thigh into the mat. Good, and breathe. Good, and then go ahead and release. And then we're going to come back down on the mat for a nice hip stretch, and then we'll go into Savasana. So have whatever you need close to you for Savasana. And then rolling on your side, lowering yourself down, and coming onto your back. So this is what we call reclined cow pose. So it looks like pigeon, only our legs are going to be a little bit different. So we're still going to have the legs bent, feet flat on the floor. And then we're going to take the right leg and we're going to cross it over the left. So with pigeon, you just did the ankle over the thigh. This time you're crossing the thighs, so it looks like how a woman sits in a chair with the thighs crossed. Now, I forgot to tell you to keep your strap nearby because that might come in handy. So what you're going to do is pick that left foot up off the mat and you're going to hug those knees in towards you. Here's where the strap might be handy, pulling it or putting it behind the left thigh and pulling in. So depending on your flexibility, use the strap. If you're okay here, then you can see, because the legs are crossed, your right hand is going to hold on to your left shin, and same on the other side. And then you can gently, very gently, kind of pull those shins in a little closer to you. You're going to start feeling it here in the hips. If you're a little more flexible, maybe walking your hands down a little bit, even holding on to the feet. And then just gently pulling those knees in towards you. So whatever gives you a nice deep stretch, just continue to breathe. Good, and then go ahead and release, bring those feet back down to the mat. And uncross, we'll try it on the other side. Good. Now, be careful if you've been told not to do an excessive internal rotation, then you can just come here and pull those knees in towards you. You don't have to do the crossing. All right, so left thigh over the right. As you pull them in, again, use your strap if you need to, or holding on to the shins, ankles, or feet. Just getting a nice deep stretch. Good, and then releasing those feet, bringing the feet back down to the mat and uncrossing. And then from here, prepare yourself for Savasana. So I'll leave you laying on the mat here. I'm going to come up to a seated position. So as you kind of wiggle things out and get yourself ready, go ahead and close the eyes. Extend the arms a few inches away from the body, turning the palms up towards the ceiling. And then turning the attention back to the breath. Notice the inhale. And notice the exhale. After your next inhale, begin to lengthen the exhale. And continue lengthening each exhale until they become about twice as long as the inhale. Focus on the physical body. Relax all the muscles from the feet, all the way up to the crown of the head. Release any tension or tightness. Focus on the mind. Release any thoughts, worries, anxieties. Try to come back in. Just acknowledge them and release them. Turning the attention back to the breath. To notice the inhale. And notice the exhale. Yourself just a few moments to completely let go. start moving your fingers and toes. Then the wrists, the ankles, and when you're ready, bending both knees and rolling onto your right side in a fetal position. And then using your left hand to support you, pushing yourself back up into your seated position. And keeping the body relaxed and the eyes closed for another moment. Focus on the intention that you set at the beginning of the practice. And we'll take one more deep cleansing breath. So take a nice big inhale. And exhale it all out. Go ahead and lift your head and open your eyes. Thank you so much for joining me today. Namaste.